Hi, I'm Doug Hershey. I'm coming to you from the very southern end of the Sea of Galilee and the northern end of the Jordan Valley. I'm author of a new book, Israel Rising, the Ancient Prophecy, Modern Lens, The Land of Israel Reawakens. We're getting ready for the 70th anniversary of the nation of Israel. Israel Rising will be a brand new, never seen before photo book about the revival of the land of Israel. Ezekiel 36 is unique in that God comes to Ezekiel and says to prophesy not to people or to kings or to nations, but to the land of Israel. He says, speak to the mountains, to the valleys, to the hills, to the ravines, and spoke of a time that when Israel returns as a nation, that trees will put forth branches and produce fruit, that the land will be cultivated and sown, that forgotten and waste cities will be rebuilt and inhabited, that God will multiply man and beast on this land, and the land will be treated better than what it was at first. I wanted to know, is that happening? And so I've obtained over 2,200 old photos between the 1880s and the 1940s that were taken all over what was then the Ottoman Empire and the British Mandate of Palestine to see what the land looked like during that time. And it's a stark visual to travelers like Mark Twain, who came through this land and talked about it being empty and desolate and just really nothing here. He talked about this valley here behind me being at 7 a.m. when there should have been dew on the grass and the smell of flowers and the birds singing in the trees, except there was no dew and no flowers and no grass and no trees and no birds. It was completely desolate, it was empty, an unshaded lake, and a completely barren wasteland. He talks about it being sad and depressing. And yet here 150 years later, as you can see behind me, in fact we have some of the old photos from the 1930s that show this valley exactly as Mark Twain described, and you can look at it right now. And so part of what we're doing is that we went back with a professional photographer to reshoot some of these exact photos to show how much that the land has prospered. We have over 100 photos, comparisons side by side from over 25 locations that verify the fact that now that Israel is in the land, there's been dramatic changes. These photos, both before and after, are a stunning comparison of not just simply a land reviving, but the fact that, just as Ezekiel said, the cities are being rebuilt and inhabited. The deserts are literally blooming. Tied into the historical aspect of that is we've done the research to find that we have quotes from Christians, Jews, and Muslims spanning almost 2,000 years and multiple empires that talk about their firsthand accounts in the last 2,000 years of what it looked like, how it felt, the things that the land experienced, the droughts, the famines, the wars, all the way up until 1948 when Israel returns as a nation, and then dramatic changes that began happening. Right now, Israel is the only nation on earth where the deserts are shrinking and not expanding. Israel is a major water technology distributor, producing $2.2 billion annually in water technology coming out of this land only in the last 32 to 40 years. My friends, the Bible is being fulfilled right now in our day. The most repeated promise in the scriptures is that God will return his people to this land and that the land will revive when they're here, and it's happening. Right now, I believe that we are in the midst of probably one of the most dramatic demonstrations of God's faithfulness that perhaps the world has ever seen. After 2,600 years of this prophecy in Ezekiel lying dormant, it's happening right now, as you can see right behind me. It is a profound time to be alive, and my intention with this book is not just simply a nice photo book, but to give photographic evidence that the Bible is true, that it's coming to pass exactly as the way that Ezekiel said, and to be able to share it with the world. It's only the beginning, and that the world will know that he is God because of what he's doing in this region. So I bless you from Israel, and we'll talk to you soon.